The Royal Dutch Shell Company, mostly known as Shell, is a fierce giant in the oil and transport industry today, but it wasn't always known for this. In the eyes of Marcus Samuel Sr., he was going to pass his Oriental seashell business to his two sons, and they were going to keep his trade and legacy alive. However, today, apart from its name and logo, little or nothing is said and known about the humbling seashell selling beginning of this great company. After 185 years of reign, it won't be an understatement to say that the Shell Company has stood through it all: times of rapid change, times of economic recession and boom, and tomes of wicked scandals. What gives rise to the ever-increasing popularity of the Shell Company? Why are they still relevant in today's business world? Stick through this video's end to find out about all that and more. Marcus Samuel had one goal: expanding his London business, and really it didn't seem that tedious to do since he already sold antiques. All he had to do was try selling Oriental seashells as well. It couldn't do bad since they were getting very popular in the interior design industry in 1833. As foreseen by him, the demand was so great that he began importing the shells from the Far East, laying the foundation for an import-export business that would go on to become one of the world's leading energy companies. When he died in 1870, he passed on his business to his two sons, Marcus Jr. and Samuel, and they began to expand it. However, they made a crucial decision in the 1880s to go into the oil exporting business, but shipping still posed a problem as oil was carried in barrels which could leak and take up a lot of space. To solve the problem, they commissioned a fleet of steamers to carry oil in bulk, including the Murex, which, in 1892, became the first oil tanker to pass through the Suez Canal. The brothers revolutionized oil transportation by doing this. Bulk transportation greatly increased the amount that could be carried while significantly lowering the cost of oil. Standard Oil, a business well known for its blue kerosene cans that, when empty, could be used for anything from roofing to bedpans, was the brothers' main rival at the time. They painted their cans brilliant red in order to stand out, creating the Shell brand. The strategy was successful, and by 1896, their kerosene trade was bringing in more money than all of their other ventures put together. Marcus and Samuel changed the name of their business to the Shell Transport and Trading Company in 1897, and they also opened their first refinery in Dutch Borneo at Balikpapan. The refinery later had to be destroyed when the USA declared war on Japan in World War II. When oil was discovered in Texas in 1901, Marcus Samuel Jr. struck the deal of a lifetime and obtained the transport and distribution rights from Standard Oil, the primary rival of his business. But by 1902, Texas's overproduction had reduced the supply to almost nothing. In the meantime, a lesser rival by the name of Royal Dutch had started building its own tankers and establishing its own sales organization in Asia. The effect was that half of Shell's fleet was idle. The decision to combine Shell Transport and Trading Company with Royal Dutch to create the Royal Dutch Shell Group was made in 1907. The 23rd of April, when the telegram announcing the merger was received, is generally recognized as Shell's birthday. Following the merger with Royal Dutch, Shell, the group's name was immediately abbreviated to Shell, launched operations across Europe and in many regions of Asia, ushering in a period of fast expansion. Significant exploration and production also took place in the US, Romania, Venezuela, Mexico, and Russia. The years that followed also provided Shell with numerous thrilling chances to showcase the caliber of its goods in the rapidly expanding market for gasoline. These included races, flights, and exploration missions that broke records. For instance, Prince Borghese used Shell Spirit motor oil to win the Peking to Paris Automobile Rally in 1907. Shell gasoline was used by explorers Ernest Shackleton and Captain Scott in the Antarctic, and Shell Spirit was used during Blériot's first cross-channel flight. The logo of Royal Dutch Shell features a stylized crown-shaped shell, which indicates the company's leadership in the energy industry. In addition, the orange and red color scheme used in the logo is reminiscent of the flag of Spain, which is significant as Shell's initial filling stations were located in California, which was once a Spanish colony. The Shell logo features a scallop shell for a reason. As said earlier, the company's founder, Marcus Samuel, initially sold antiques and boxes decorated with seashells. As the business grew and his sons expanded it to include exporting oil, eventually leading to extracting fossil fuels, the logo concept remained the same even after the merger. The Shell logo has undergone several changes over the years. The first color version was introduced in 1948, and in 1971, a shell-less version was created and is still in use today, despite an attempted redesign in 1995. Raymond Loewy designed the 1971 logo, which has been used ever since with only minor modifications. Loewy, an accomplished industrial designer, also created logos for BP and Exxon and other notable projects, such as the Lucky Strike package, Air Force One livery, and the Coca-Cola fountain dispenser. The company has been involved in a number of scandals over the years. A major one that got to change the history of a nation is that which happened to Nigeria's Ken Saro-Wiwa. Ken Saro-Wiwa was a Nigerian writer, environmental activist, and leader of the Ogoni people. In the 1990s, he became a vocal critic of the Royal Dutch Shell Oil Company's activities in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria, where the Ogoni people lived. Saro-Wiwa argued that Shell's oil extraction operations were causing environmental damage, polluting land and water, and displacing local communities. He also advocated for greater autonomy and control over resources for the Ogoni people. In 1995, Saro-Wiwa and 8 other Ogoni leaders were arrested and charged with the murder of 4 Ogoni leaders. The trial was widely criticized as a sham, and there was evidence that the Nigerian government, which was heavily dependent on oil revenue, had colluded with Shell to silence Saro-Wiwa and the other leaders. Despite international pressure, Saro-Wiwa and the others were found guilty and executed by hanging in November 1995. The execution of Saro-Wiwa and the other leaders sparked international outrage and led to increased scrutiny of Shell's operations in Nigeria. As a result, the company faced lawsuits and protests, and was accused of being complicit in human rights abuses and environmental destruction. Shell has since faced a number of legal actions and reputational damage due to its actions in Nigeria and the case of Ken Saro-Wiwa. Other scandals include environmental and human rights violations. Shell has been accused of polluting the environment and violating human rights in countries such as Nigeria, where the company has been linked to oil spills and gas flaring. Price fixing. In 2004, Shell was found guilty of price fixing in the United Kingdom and fined £17 million by the UK's Office of Fair Trading. Reserves scandal. In 2004, Shell was forced to reduce its proven oil and gas reserves by 20%, leading to the resignation of several top executives and a significant drop in the company's stock price. Tax avoidance. Shell has been criticized for its tax avoidance strategies, which have been estimated to cost governments billions of dollars in lost revenue. Climate change. Shell has been criticized for its role in contributing to climate change and not taking enough action to reduce its carbon emissions. However, it is worth noting that Royal Dutch Shell has been taking different steps to solve these issues and improve its environmental and social performance. Reflecting on the 185 years of Shell's history has been an incredible journey. Both humanity and the company have adapted through a century of rapid change and turmoil. However, the next century presents significant challenges, such as meeting energy demands while reducing carbon emissions. Shell is actively participating in transforming the energy system and sees opportunities to provide cleaner energy solutions. The company's focus on thriving as the world moves towards a lower carbon energy system is a key aspect of its strategy, and its financial framework will provide resilience in the future. Understanding and addressing the impact of climate change on the company is a major strategic concern for Shell's leaders. They plan to continue collaborating with society and customers as they have done for nearly 200 years.